Billiken fans, welcome back. It is Zach Miller and Peter Hale. It's the Midtown Madness Podcast. Before we get going, thank you all so much for listening. And then if you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button. Comment down below if anything we get into on the show. You got something to say? You want to sound off about what we're talking about, what we're not talking about? Hit the comment section, leave a comment. We really appreciate it. If you got a question that you want us to answer or not, I mean, maybe not answer, but we'll talk about something we should talk about, let us know. Pete, our recurring episode starting segment here. Chris May, come on the show. We'll talk about how Billiken athletics will be supported at the highest levels this year. Would love to have you on and have an honest conversation. A huge thank you to everyone who has supported us by supporting Two Men in a Garden these past few years. They are back. All thanks to you. All thanks to all of you listeners who went out and bought Two Men in a Garden salsa to support us. We can't thank Joel and the team over at Two Men in a Garden for keeping the lights on over here at the Midtown Madness Podcast. They are the St. Louis Salsa and Pickle Company, as far as I'm concerned anyway. They bring you everything from mild to screaming hot salsa. They have hot mango or sugar-free. They have pickles from classic dill to smoky barbecue. Visit them online at Two Men in a Garden to shop your favorite flavors. You can learn more about their Kitchen Hub STL as well while you're there. Don't forget to follow them on social media at Two Men Salsa on Instagram and Twitter for the latest updates. Pete, as usual, we got some good and bad news this week to kick off the show.
We do, Zach. And I'd like to think again, like last week, I think there's more good than bad, right?
I think it was a mixed bag this week. I think for those who are specifically here for basketball, I think it's absolutely, without a doubt, unequivocally, a very good week. And we are going to get into that because the good this week has to be Billiken basketball. It's October 26th, and we have live Billiken basketball. And it appears that this Billiken team, we might have something here, Pete.
Yeah, I really think we do. We're going to get into it too, Zach. What would you call the bad this week, though?
I think there was soccer. Maybe not bad, but it just was not up to what we've come to expect. I think
a little lukewarm on the soccer field, I think.
Yeah, we're going to get into that too, because a rough afternoon in Chicago for the men, and then a rough afternoon here in St. Louis for the women. The weather was rough, and we're going to talk about that. But I think the strangest news of the week, I guess it's strange in that how it was broken, and that is that Billiken softball is slated to host the Atlantic 10 Championship. And Pete, I have questions.
I know you do, Zach. Should we tackle this one a little later in the show, though?
I think we should stick around for that. It'll be interesting. And then finally, I mentioned last week that I've been binging Pablo Torre Finds Out. And I got to the episode where they talk about Brickin' for Chicken promotions. By the way, fantastic episode, super interesting. But basically, the visiting opponent misses 2 free throws in a row, and the entire audience or the entire crowd gets free something, right?
Right.
And this isn't new. This is massively popular in the NBA. Admittedly, I had heard about it, didn't really give it much thought. It's very cool. SLU should absolutely do that. We already have Raising Cane's as a sponsor. If you can get, anything, it doesn't matter. I mean, if you can get Papa John's back on board, I miss having Papa John's as a sponsor. We all know I like mediocre shit when it comes to food. I miss Papa John's. I just think they have to get into this. It's awesome. It gets the fans involved. Heck, do it in the first half and the second half, because then you've got the regular fans on one side and the students on the other. I just think it's a great way to get the fans involved and cheering for something good for the Billikens to happen.
Yeah, I agree. I like them too. It's a little like the promotions I remember the most, actually. I remember when we had Chevy's, where you would get like buy one, get one free entrees at Chevy's if they scored a certain amount of points and won. And that was always my favorite. Wasn't there something later with Qdoba too? I don't remember
Uh,
exactly what it was, but I want to say a couple like early Shayfits. I think there was a Qdoba thing.
well, pasta was one for a long time. Free
Okay,
pasta. Yeah,
yeah, that's right.
that was the like I smell pasta. God,
Yeah,
Guy
that
Phillips.
replaced Chevys. That was the
Yeah.
Joe Bacardi's, wasn't
Okay.
it?
Yeah, I remember
Oh,
Joe
yeah,
Bacardi's was for a minute. I know we did. Qdoba, I know was a sponsor when it first came to campus ish,
yeah.
and I remember they did a burrito rolling competition or something like that.
Okay, yeah. It
That
was
that
more of
I
like
yeah
I think theirs were more like timeout promo related. Yeah, I think
yeah.
you're right.
But I think anytime you can, I love like I do enjoy the the layup on a cord, the
Sure.
elastic. I love a good one of those. I love the dress the kids up in the basketball uniform as they try to make a layup. You have to get every
Yeah,
each
yeah,
piece of. I love those things, but like if you can get the fans, and that's what Brickin' for Chicken does, is gets the fans behind the Billikens into
yeah.
something positive happening for the home team. I think that's a
Right.
that's the gold standard for a promo, right? I at least and I don't want to pretend like this was some like monumental discovery or some crazy
Sure.
outlandish. This has been around. It's been around, but I think SLU should definitely look into maybe using one of their sponsors. Pickleman's shit, free bag of chips or so, I don't know, with every sandwich. I don't know. Just do it. It's easy. You can just you don't really you just take a sponsor you already have. I don't know. Um, I wanted to bat lead off. We talked about this, the softball A10 tournament news, but I think our audience has been hurting for no bullshit basketball talk. Like, let's not delay this any further. Let's talk about this. What are we calling this thing actually? Was this? Are we talking about a game or practice? We talking about practice?
I think it was more of a game than practice. I'm going to call it an exhibition. I think exhibition is the correct term for it. I don't think I would call it a scrimmage. I don't think I would call it practice. Maybe a game is generous, but I think exhibition is the next step down. I think that's what it was, Zach.
I think it's weird to point out that we're going to play 5-10 minute periods. Like, at least give us like, yeah, we're going to play two halves and then we're going to do a 10-minute overtime. Just
Right.
say it like that. Just throw it like that. You
Sure.
know, keep get we as fans, we need that. We need to like feel like things are normal.
Right.
I I don't know. This was, I will say, this game gave me a massive dose of nostalgia.
Mhm.
I first of all, well, this reminded me I can't eat ice cream. I'm allergic. Haven't since 2000. Finally, recently, I was introduced to oat milk ice cream. I guess had the chocolate flavor a few months ago. This brought me back. Listening to this game brought me back, or following this game brought me back to like the early 2000s. The same way that oat ice cream brought me nostalgia for chocolate
So,
ice cream.
how so?
Like
How did it?
it was a simpler time, Pete. If it was a road game, rare road exhibition games are rarely on the road, but
Right.
like this was, I mean, yes, we'd have radio feeds, but this sitting by the computer and updating the score, looking at the stats, we didn't get to look at the stats necessarily, but I think getting those little videos from Earl Austin. By the way, go over to Earl Austin's Twitter feed. He's got a lot of
Yeah.
great clips. Watch them for yourself. We'll probably be discussing them. But yeah, just kind of that. I'm out here on an oil rig trying to figure out anything that's going on in this game.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, like you just had to be following basically the right people on Twitter is what it came down to. Tom Timmerman, Earl, Stu, a couple others really were the ones that were in-house and had information for us. Because
I need
otherwise, you're right. No video, no audio, no live box score. We've gotten kind of pampered over the years. It's not many games that you just have no way in.
and I think that has been where, and exhibitions are one thing. I disagree with not having them televised when possible. Obviously, this was outside of SLU's control in ways, but that's where SLU, I think, has done really well as an athletic department, especially with basketball. I think our outside of the Alexa Dat games the other
Yeah.
year, like I think our basketball television production is second to none in the Atlantic 10 and is up there with the like being a pro sports city. We have the broadcasters in the area, and I think SLU has done a really good job being at the forefront of broadcasting in addition to that. I think that's
Right.
something Chris May has truly excelled at, making sure games are like he was ahead of it with I think he was maybe a little behind like baseball and softball being televised. There was, but we were more of our games were being shown on ESPN Plus than uh, the A10 conference
Yeah.
appears. So, but yet following this game was a walk back in time to where it was just tell me anything. What's the score? Or is that really the
Mhm.
score? Did you like, there was nothing there was no truth out there. You could really you were just getting bits and pieces and you kind of just had to accept it as like you had to check the message board and whatever
Right.
they told you was reality.
Right. Because a few of those guys were in there too.
Yeah. I think the best part, by the way, I need to pull Earl Austin's, the clip from Earl Austin's video where he yells, Robbie in the
I think
background.
I think he was doing a little practice for
It
himself for the
was,
season as well, even though he
oh,
wasn't being recorded. Yeah.
yeah. I wonder, like, at what point can you not just like go Twitter live? Like, I just, who cares? I don't know. If he's right there on the baseline, who cares? Who's getting
I,
anything from that?
I'm sure they had to, I'm sure they were all told, like, this is not, there's no broadcast. This is not being recorded.
By the way, here's how I think SLU is doing with their broadcasting is that they, by broadcasting as many games as they do, when they do have an issue with overlapping and not having an announcer for like a field hockey, something like that, they are allowed to, well, I think I've said this before, they're allowed to do a broadcast of lesser quality through their website.
Hmm.
So that is something that's a benefit to the amount of games they're showing. So the field hockey game today was on Billikens.com because they have built up enough, I guess, credit or whatever with the amount of games they've televised
Yeah.
across or streamed, I guess. But anyway, we belabored the point quite a bit there, and people are probably very frustrated. So let's get to this 98-77 or Pete,
118, 106, if you include all five periods. Yeah.
yeah, if you're nasty, a win at Bradley. It was a scrimmage or exhibition or basketball adjacent game on Thursday, October 23rd. Pete, we talked about the format, but let us know what it was.
Yeah, so 4 10-minute quarters followed by an additional 10-minute period for the non-rotation players. So I saw somewhere they said there will be 5 10-minute quarters. It's like, well, those are not quarters, sir. If those are if there are five of
Words
them,
have
but
meaning,
they do.
ladies and gentlemen.
They do. But really the fifth one was just for the non-rotation players, for the freshmen, for people who otherwise weren't really going to be playing much of the game. And then we found out before the game, Dylan Warlick was out with a bruised clavicle, Zach. But it sounds like it's not going to be a long-term injury.
Yeah, I mean, if there was a guy who you would say is most likely to get a bruised clavicle, I think it's Dylan Warlick.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Kolu Anya. At one point, because again, we're nobody's really like we're just getting bits and bobs of this game,
Hmm.
and as it goes on, you look at the stats at halftime, and Kolu Anya hasn't played yet,
Right.
and then you get later into the third and fourth 10-minute period, and you're like, okay, Kolu Anya still not playing, still not
Hmm.
playing. He ended up not logging any minutes in this one, and we will get to that. But that was completely unexpected.
That wasn't expected, not injury related.
Not
But
injury
per
related.
Tom Timmerman, Shirt said not to worry too much about the starting lineup. He was still experimenting with some combinations, and that the actual starting lineup might not be set for a while, as in the most likely starting five for most of this season. So that said, the starters for this game were Quentin Jones, Trey Green, Dion Brown, Amari McCautry, and Robbie Avila.
I guess
So
nobody told him that starting is for high school.
no one told him that. No. Kind of an interesting lineup, though, Zach. I don't know if all of us would have had, Dion Brown, for example, or Amari McCautry as guys that you would necessarily expect in the starting lineup.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a four guard lineup. That's a four out, one in. I mean, technically that's a five out.
Yeah, the
I
way they
mean,
play, sure, yeah, but yeah, yeah, no, I Robbie obviously an inside out player, and McCautry can guard a number of positions, so I guess you could
yeah.
argue him as kind of a forward-esque type, but they still call him a guard.
And I think it's also the case for a Kellen Thames too. I think those guys kind of
Hmm.
operate within the same athletic position
Yeah.
or athletic ability on defense, especially. The first quarter, we're gonna refer to these first four as quarters, and then we're gonna call the fifth. We're gonna call that overtime. I'm gonna call it overtime because that's
Mm.
how I wanted them to say it. So I'm gonna be a brat and just roll with
It's
it.
it's weird to go to overtime though when it wasn't tied after regulation.
You know, some things you just got to live with. First quarter, the Billikens 24, Bradley 22. Pete, I was ready. I was ready to overreact here. I was ready
Yeah.
to shut it down. Shut it all down. We're terrible. Cancel the season. I was
Hmm.
ready.
And they were
Do
basically just scoring from outside, 6 for 11 from three, two, but only 2 for 6 from the free throw line. But it wasn't just you, Zach. There were some other fans.
yes.
I saw, "Are we good or do we suck?" I saw that at least twice, almost written the exact same way.
Yeah, I think it's a little tongue in cheek, obviously, and but yeah, I mean that's kind of what you want to know. I mean, the Billikens get play some meaningful basketball with ticketed attendees, and
Hmm.
you're trying to get anything informationally,
Yeah,
and again, Earl Austin's tweets were massive. Were
yeah,
massive during this game. I tried to talk Stu Durando into Substack stream, but it was a non-starter there. We
yeah.
didn't work out. Pete, that second quarter, wanted to say it was an offensive explosion, but I mean, it's kind of just the same. Uh,
No,
26, 20, 27 points in that half or in that quarter.
yeah, they started to stretch it a little bit, but yeah, so 51-42 was the score at halftime. Bradley got to within four, and then SLU finished the half with a 7-2 run. They went 7 for 18 from three for the half and 12 for 15 from two. Didn't really do a real halftime. The players just kind of stayed out there for about 5 minutes before action eventually resumed.
I mean, can we go to the locker room? Can we pretend? Is there no sanctity for the standard rules of basketball? Is nothing sacred anymore. The
Nope.
third quarter ended with the Billikens up 71-54. The Billikens opened it up early in the quarter with a 10-0 run at one point. Shirts was upset though after a string of bad possessions as the quarter ended, and that resulted in him needing a timeout. Uh, but yeah, Billikens up. I mean, 17. Is that 17?
17, yeah.
Math is hard. Um, hey, up 17 after the third quarter. Hell yeah.
Yeah, pretty solid. It seemed like, based on what I could gather, is it just seemed like they were absolutely running away with it. And it probably could have been up by over 20, but then just kind of got a little sloppy at the end of the quarter. So I think Shirts was a little frustrated there. I mean, obviously, he's a perfectionist. If you read Stu on Substack, I think it came out the day after this one. He had an initial reaction and then a follow-up with more quotes from Shirts. And Shirts, seemed both really upset about certain things and really happy about certain things at the same time. So,
I'm happy and
uh,
angry.
yeah, exactly. But Zach, the fourth quarter ended 98-77. This counted, it seems like, as the official final score, despite the fifth period being played right after it. Both Timmerman and Stu commented about how the fourth quarter was being bogged down by free throws. basically every possession ending in a foul, even though it was a blowout. So I think people are getting a little antsy there. Leading scorers ended up being Thames off the bench with 19, Sharma was 16, another guy off the bench, and then Avila, McCautry, and Dunlop 11 each. So five double-digit scorers, and really promising to see a couple guys come off the bench and really score. I think Sharma in the first half, when we saw all those threes, he was really the catalyst behind that one.
Absolutely. I mean, this is that right there. You could finish off the entire kind of assessment of this game, and
Hmm.
seeing five guys in double figures uh, is huge.
Yeah.
That's going to be huge for us. I think this is going to be a team where we are going to beat people in the last 10 minutes. It's going to be one of those teams where it's nip and tuck for 30 minutes, and then all of a sudden you're going to have like 4 minutes left and we're going to be up by like 12 to 15, and you're going to wonder how that happened.
Right. Yeah, I think that's absolutely right. They're just going to come at you at waves in waves. The fifth period overtime, if you want, Zach.
Overtime.
118, was the final. So Bradley did close a little bit. Trey Green started along with the four freshmen. So it was Kerr, Hudson, Diakite, and Latchkowski. Latch hit at least three pointers, and they looked good. I mean, Earl's highlights of those, like he looked really smooth on his shot. Absolutely elite skill he's got there. I think Rockio made this point first. Matt Rockio on Twitter. He said, Shirts said previously that we may see a five guard lineup at times with McCautry guarding the biggest opposing player. We didn't see that at this game at all, but I think Bradley already has a size advantage down low. I kind of looked at their height. They have like multiple 7-footers, a couple guys who are like 6'10, 6'11. So maybe a couple of those guys are more long-term big projects, but they definitely have some real size in the front court, even if I thought like maybe our guards had a little bit of a size advantage.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like here. I thought it was, again, I think we'll get to it. Uh, the Kuluanya stuff, but I found it interesting that he didn't play, but you had Lechkowski and Kurt and Diakite, right? I believe they are also candidates for right. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Pete, why don't you run us down a few more of the numbers here?
Yeah, so just to wrap it up on the rotation, he did play 10 players in the first four periods, whatever regulation. Jax Kerr didn't play more than a few minutes. I think it was 3 or 4 minutes. So it was really a nine-man rotation with Green, Avila, McCautry, Thames, Otieno, Jones, Sharma, Brown, and Dunlop. Box score highlights, Robbie, he was the plus minus leader at plus 22. And Zach, you'll love to hear this. He had just one turnover. He and McCautry led SLU with 5 assists apiece. SLU was 25 of 31 inside the arc. All 50 of those points were in the paint. Sharma was 4 for 9 from outside. I think that those four were all in the first half, if I'm not mistaken. SLU had five guys with six or more rebounds, which I love to see. Got some size at guard, finally. Otieno wasn't one of them, oddly enough. The Bills out-rebounded Bradley by 17 overall. And then these three, 20 second chance points, 20 fast break points, and 51 bench points. Those are just numbers that would be unthinkable last season when we had games with zero bench points, right? Very few fast break points, not a lot of second chance points. So really promising to see all that. But
Are those 51 bench points including or not including overtime?
oh, that's a really good question, actually. I don't know. I didn't. You know what? I think I got to look at Stu's
And they
Twitter
have, I
because
mean, if it's straight
he's
from the box score.
yeah, it was straight from the box score, but I want to say that was just regulation.
Hmm.
I'm almost positive it was just regulation. And
Let's
of
see.
course, I
Let's see if
can't
I can get
find it
to,
now.
let's see if I can get to Earl's real quick.
He did
But
it in a reply.
he's
That's why I
probably
can't find it.
tweeting. Oh, there we
Yeah.
go. Did he do the,
Earl did one at halftime. He didn't do the full game one. Yeah,
oh,
so yeah, Zach, that was just the regulation.
okay, good. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
cool.
yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic.
So you wind up with 51 off the bench because you get 19 out of Thames, 16 out of Sharma. They were two leading scorers, and then Otieno came off the bench and had 11. Dunlap 5. So so yeah, really good. I think I accidentally said Dunlap had 11 earlier, but it was McCautry who did. Anyway, yeah, so you wound up with 51 bench points, really good stuff. If you're looking for stuff to not like from the box score, Jones, Otieno, and McCautry had 14 of 21 of Slew's turnovers. 21 obviously is already an alarming number. Shirts was, not happy about it. Jones had 6, Otieno 4, McCautry 4. Look, McCautry, we knew he had turnover issues. Jones, that was a little more of a surprise. And, Otieno, stuff to clean up there. Opportunity to get better, right? Slew didn't get a whole lot of outside shooting outside of Sharma.
By
Dunlap,
the way, Sharma, holy crap.
bombs away. Yeah.
I mean, I mean, I love that he was a very good player on a really a bad team. I just think that I would rather have one of those guys than a role player on a good team sometimes. Like, I think, I think this kid can play. And I think he
I,
was just, I
yeah,
don't
although
know.
he didn't get a ton of minutes at Virginia, like he wasn't like Jones, who was really on bad teams at Northern Illinois and
Mm.
Cal Poly. Like he was on teams that were not winning at all, and he was productive on them. Sharma, I think, was a little bit, like Virginia was not good. Like they weren't good last season. Don't get me wrong. But I don't think he got as much run as he should have. But anyway, nobody else was hitting more than 1-3. Dunlap 1 of 5, Avila 1 of 4, Green 1 of 4, Jones 1 of 3. Brown hit his only attempt. But if you're looking to get concerned, but I think honestly, it's just one of those things where we've got so many shooting options now. It's hard to think, and it probably will happen at some point, but it's hard to envision a night where everybody's off, right? Like there's going to be somebody who's going to be able to produce for you from outside, and Lord help us if it's going to be one of these things where 3 or 4 of those guys are going off one night, because this team could really run away from people in that situation.
Yeah, I think, I don't think there's much to worry yet about that 3 point shooting.
No,
I mean, this is going to be a
I'm
team.
nitpicking.
Yeah, well, yeah, like you said, I think there are, we're gonna. I think we are. This team is built in a way that it's basically battling the law of averages with 3 point shooting. One of these guys has to be on enough for us to win, or at least score enough to put us in a good position to win with average defense.
Yeah,
So,
right.
um, what was your favorite highlight from the Hall of Famer, Earl Austin Jr.?
I had a few I liked, but I think if it was one of them, it was probably McCautry stopping that 3-on-1 and getting the ball down to Thames for that big dunk. That was a fun one, although it was probably caused by a turnover in the first place. But still, to see him, it was a 3-on-1, and then he read it perfectly. And then Thames did the dunk where he kind of basically did a chin up, got his legs all the way up there. So that was pretty fun.
Yeah, I loved that one, and I think it's a matter of effort too, right?
Hmm.
Stopping the fast break, like you give up a turnover, you get the ball back like that. There's nothing more you can ask for,
Right.
even if that would not have resulted in a massive dunk, a jam time, if you will.
Hmm.
I think you still gotta love the effort from McCautry to get back and make a play.
Yeah, for sure. Any other highlights from Earl, Zach, that stood out to you?
I mean, I like anything with Thames. Avila feeding Thames on under the basket from the top of the arc was really
That one was
nice.
nice because you could see that's like you feel like, okay, we're going to see a lot of that this season, right? Like
Yeah,
so to see it now is just really it feels like you're
playing the
seeing something.
hits.
Yeah, exactly. You're seeing something that's going to be a core part of what we do.
Obviously, seeing Avila get open and make a three on a pick and pop. It's positive to see that, especially coming from Green. You see now you see the chemistry that's maybe been building over the
For
summer.
sure.
So I think that's a huge positive.
Yeah. And then Latchkowski's threes, I mentioned earlier, but those really stood out to me as just looking good. Earl happened to catch, I think, three of them. So at least two. But yeah, that's a really good looking shot that kid has.
Pete, there was a lot of news that came out. We've talked about it a little bit. Let's get into it. We found out a surprising redshirt decision.
Kalu Anya did not play in this game, and we found out that he has opted to redshirt the
Uh,
season, which Zach is not something you expect for a senior, right?
yeah,
It was a healthy senior.
yeah. Am I allowed to bring out my tinfoil hat?
By all means.
Well, here's the
We
thing.
know you've got it on under that cap right there.
Here's the thing. Give why don't you give kind of the reading of the lines, and then we
Hmm.
can talk about everything that goes along with it. Because you've got Kaluanya redshirting. We're going to talk about it eventually, but we also found out, and I talked about it a little bit, is that Lechkowski and Diakite were redshirt, but they played in this one. It's surprising to me that Anya wouldn't at least get out there and get a sweat going.
Yeah, because it's not like you would yeah, you wouldn't burn your red shirt if you played in this exhibition, right? It doesn't count toward the season. So why
It,
not?
yeah, I mean, I think there's an obvious reasoning why someone would do this, and I think that was kind of given.
Yeah,
Um,
so the way, I mean, yeah, on paper it's just kind of one of those things where he's a guy who played almost 30 minutes a game last year, right? I think it was 28 point something minutes a game. Obviously a big part of what we do, frequent starter, core rotation player. And then
Leader.
leader, they bring in a freshman, Jax Kerr, who seems like he's going to get minutes right away. They bring in a major transfer in Paul Otieno, big rebounder, big guy. He's like, you know, think about Anya's limitations. Not the best offensive player, terrible free throw shooter. He's not the best shot blocker. So they bring in Otieno, who's a little bit bigger, better shot blocker, better free throw shooter, better all around offensive player. And similar to slightly better rebounder. And it's not hard if you're Kaluanya, it's not hard to kind of squint and go, I'm kind of getting squeezed out of the rotation here. This is not exact like I want to stay here, but this is not exactly how I wanted to spend my senior year. So maybe I have an opportunity to be a third year player next year to help Jax Kerr transition into the next Robbie Avila role where he's the big man who the offense kind of runs through because he's got that skill set or, this I think the staff's pretty high on his long-term potential, right? So you bring Anya back for senior leadership for continuity. And oh, by the way, Kalu Anya knows by now he's not an NBA player. So it's not the worst thing in the world to spend one more year in college in the NIL era and get paid for it. So if he looks around, takes a big picture, look at what his role will be, what his future is, and one more year of academics to get a master's or something like that. A kid who obviously has a couple years at an Ivy League school under his belt, no dummy. I think he just said, "Hey, this makes a lot of sense."
Yeah, I think it's weird to think about. The idea of looking ahead to next year. I think throughout the last 5, 6 years of basketball, of college athletics, who says that he won't get squeezed out of the rotation again next year through the portal? The portal is ever changing rosters, and a big year for Billiken basketball, which I think after going through this game and looking at the numbers and the clips, I mean, I think that's entirely possible. I think it could mean an elevated ability in the portal next year, or for
Yeah,
Slew in the portal and a chance to, again reach over him.
yeah. So Robbie and Paul Otieno are going to be gone for sure, right, next year. So you think, well, Jax Kerr and Kaluanya are those guys, but that can't be it. We don't have any freshman bigs coming in yet at this point. You got to think that they're going to be looking for a portal big now. value is difficult there because I think it's a pretty irrational market when it comes to overspending on bigs, and I keep hearing that all over the place. I mean, even in a text chain with friends this week, we were talking about that, where it seems like that's kind of the thing is people overpay for bigs. So it's going to be tough to bring in the transfer portal big you want. So you really got to hope Jax Kerr is that guy. But that said, I think Kaluanya, you're right, would be foolish to expect that it's just going to be those two. So yeah, I still say, well, at the very least, if he gets pushed out again, at least he got paid another year for it, right?
Yeah. Um, I guess ruling it a red shirt out or ruling him a red shirt, I don't necessarily get that unless you have to. I don't, maybe the ins and outs I'm not great on, but do you have to declare it like you're Michael Scott? I declare red shirt. Or can you just be chill on the bench and if nothing bad happens and they don't need him, I'll take that red shirt. Thanks for coming out.
I think you can backdoor a red shirt. Like I think it can be applied retroactively. I think we've seen that before for people who have kind of nagging injuries and they're not quite sure if they're going to go active or not, that kind of thing. But I think ideally you do file the paperwork up front with the NCAA and get it all official before before the season gets into full swing.
Yeah, I mean I get that for, clerical sakes, just ensure you have it, ensure it's approved, and that way you're not taking any chances after the season. And I think obviously you can take that red shirt off, and I do hope, I would hope at least that there is an understanding that if that were to happen, and God forbid an injury happens,
Mhm.
that he would be available to take that red shirt off and play. But again, that's a I guess a conversation that would have been had here.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
I guess the last one would be like he is still getting rev share money. So like, okay, it's not, I mean, I guess it's not a nice thing to say, but like we're still paying an upperclassman money to sit on the bench. I mean, I'm assuming he's probably getting more than Diakite based on like age or Latchkowski. And I don't know. I think it's a little different there.
Yeah, and mentioning Diakite is important because I think he was one of these guys that he was never really in the plan, right? And he was the 15th addition to the roster and came in and we thought, well, he's an intriguing young player, but I think they had a mutual understanding, like, look, we didn't have NIL earmarked for you. So you'll get the rev share, but not like a special thing on top of it. This is just kind of what it is. But if you want to run with this team for the season, like we'd love to have you. And so he came in and by all accounts, I think mutually they all really like each other. So for if he has a good, red shirt practice season, and is ready to go next season, that's another intriguing young piece that I think certainly mitigates some concern if you don't sign a high school big this year. I think you still do want a transfer big of some kind. Maybe with that mix of players, it makes sense to get more of like a traditional power forward type. I don't mean traditional power forward. I know those have kind of gone away in some sense, but like a guy who's more of maybe a combo forward or something like that, rather than another center. So yeah, there's still a lot to be determined there, but I think that's a fair point.
Speaking of to be determined, Cam Hudson, we're unsure on whether or not he will redshirt. We did, as I mentioned, find out that Luke Latchkowski and Badara Diakite will redshirt. That's just a lot of red shirts, man. That's
It
weird.
is,
It's different. It is different.
it is because we're used to 13 scholarship player rosters. And you have one or two guys redshirt, and then all of a sudden you don't have a lot of wiggle room if somebody goes down for the season, right? But now we've got 15 players. So you're like, okay, well, if one or two guys redshirt, we still have a full 13 kind of roster. But now it's like we have three confirmed and possibly a fourth. People had been wondering about Dylan Warlick, but it sounds like he's going to be playing despite his current injury. And speaking of injuries, just a couple weeks ago, I thought Hudson might shut it down for the year. I thought he was the most likely red shirt, given that he had that shoulder injury. He's either going to treat it with surgery or long-term rehab while he's playing through it. And I thought, well, at the time we had 15 healthy scholarship players. Why not just shut it down, do the surgery, come back 100%? But I don't know. I think he might choose option B and play because if he doesn't, we'd really just have 11 guys, 11 active players. And that does make you like, you're kind of like, wow, okay, we're not really like we know there's 9 in that core rotation plus Jax Kerr, who's going to be playing minutes. And I guess Warlick is kind of that utility man on the bench. And that's it. There's 4 other guys potentially not playing. So we'll see if Hudson does wind up like Warlick, kind of being that utility sub guy who's not quite in the rotation.
Uh, Next up, we got live. The next, actually, it won't be the next time we talk to you.
Won't be the next
However,
time. Barely.
won't be the next time. But we have live Billiken basketball at Chaffetz Arena, November 3rd. The Billikens open up their non-conference slate with Southeast Missouri State. That'll be Monday, November 3rd. And then they'll turn right around and host Chicago State Thursday, the 6th. We are going to preview those teams next week. I have an inkling that I want to try to see if there's anybody to talk to from SEMO, podcaster, beat writer, something. I'm thinking about it. I have the outline of a plan. I have a concept of a plan here, Pete.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that's on my radar that I'd like to make happen. I'd like to try to do that more this year.
Sure.
We'll preview I don't think we're going to find anybody to cover Chicago State though. That might be a tough one.
Chicago
State, get the head coach. We could probably get their head coach.
We might be able to. Chicago State is one of those teams. They are kind of like darlings of sicko college basketball Twitter kind of program, right?
Yeah.
So maybe there's somebody out there who knows a little more about Chicago State than you would think. I don't know.
Mark Titus wanted to be the head coach at Chicago State.
I would like to see that.
I would, if I ever got Mark Titus on the podcast, I'd shit myself. I'd have no idea what to say to him. Just completely starstruck, which is insane for an Ohio State walk-on who wrote a book once and hosts a podcast.
I think I would have to do the talking while you just sat there.
Yes. Great book, by the way. If you haven't read Mark Titus's book, Don't Put Me In, Coach, My Incredible NCAA Journey from the End of the Bench to the End of the Bench, head over to wherever you get your books. It's a very funny read. But yeah, all right. I'll stop simping for Mark Titus. By the way, why don't you put this Bradley win in perspective?
Yeah, Zach, it's kind of interesting because I got to thinking a little bit like Bradley's not bad. They were picked in the official preseason poll for the Missouri Valley, which they've kind of handed off to the field of 68, and they only do a top 5. It's very weird. Bradley was 4th. But if you look at some of the ratings, like Ken Palm actually has them 1st in the Valley. So it seems like the top 5 in the Valley, depending on the ratings, depending on the place, are kind of jumbled up and they're all really close. So Bradley is call him a top tier Valley team this season. And when you look at them in relation to our non-conference schedule, there's only 5 potential opponents that are higher than Bradley in Ken Palm's preseason ratings. Minnesota's number 73, Grand Canyon's 80, San Francisco 84, Stanford 89, and Santa Clara 105, just one notch ahead of Bradley. And we'll only play 4 of those because we'll either get Stanford or Minnesota, not both. And by the way, Iowa, who SLU apparently beat handily in that closed door scrimmage previously, is 46th, by far.
But who the hell knows about them?
Yeah.
I mean, that's just
who knows?
Complete unknown.
Truly. So we beat this team, 106 in Ken Palm's preseason, if you choose to put any stock in that at all, by over 20 points at their place, despite missing 11 free throws and turning it over 21 times. 2/3 of the teams we play in the non-conference schedule will likely not be as good as them. And the teams that are likely to be better aren't a whole lot better on paper. They're kind of between us and Bradley. I know these ratings are imperfect. A preseason exhibition is not a perfect barometer either, but I think it's still noteworthy, both as a reason for optimism and unfortunately to highlight how weak this schedule is. SLU is rated higher than all of these teams, by the way, at 65. So it would only be Iowa, who we played previously and not on our actual schedule, that would be higher. So, anyway, Zach, if you put any stock in that kind of stuff, I just think it's kind of interesting. If you want to really get after it with your preseason optimism, your unrealistic, unfettered expectations for this team.
Is barometer like the 6-7 of weather related instruments? Like I have no idea what the hell a barometer is. What is a barometer?
I mean, you have Google, but
No, absolutely. Yeah, just leave. I'm not. I'm just pointing out that like it's one of those words that just everybody says, and I don't know if people actually it's a measurement tool. Like that's it. That's the like just like 6-7 was a rap lyric one time. Like
my kids say that constantly. It's so I can't with the 6-7. Barometer is an instrument measuring atmospheric pressure
well, I knew that, but
used
like,
especially in forecasting the weather and determining altitude.
but why
So,
is
so
it?
there you
Why
go.
isn't it used for? Why is it used in the context of measuring sports?
I don't know. I mean, thermometer. I think it makes more sense than thermometer in this
Yeah,
case.
yeah, for real. We'll let that go. Uh, let's talk about tickets. A quick follow up here on
I
last week's discussion of the ticket packages.
we talked a lot about those ticket packages, the ones that come with a piece of merch, and I think it's worth mentioning that if you click on the ticket link at SLU's website, those are right there. Like you can buy single game tickets, and then they have a link right below that to the ticket packages. So I think anybody buying tickets through there would at least see those, right? So I guess that's a good thing. It still doesn't do anything for season ticket holders who already have tickets to those games,
Mm-hmm.
or just general ticket holders to those games. But if you don't have tickets yet and you're going to find them, at least you'll probably see that. So I think that's a good thing. I still don't quite understand the mindset of it, but you know,
You know what?
I want to be fair, Zach. I want to be
Yeah,
fair.
like yeah, for sure. I think it's odd that they are sticking to this the way this works. I just don't. If people may buy them, I don't know. I just don't see how they get like I don't see the appeal if it's an item that the diehards would want. Well, I don't,
Yeah,
and the diehards already have season tickets.
right.
I don't know. By the way, they said they added a new section for the $150 tickets. I whatever. I don't know
Yeah,
why,
the,
but
the
yeah,
lowest season ticket
which upped by $50
pricing.
this year. Um, whatever. I'm not going to go over it. Um, Pete, some very interesting news developing over at the University of Dayton right now.
Yeah, this broke right before we started recording, Zach, but it
Breaking
sounds
news.
sounds like they may have an eligibility concern over there.
Producer hit the music. Um, yeah. I mean, so the wording is that Adam Jaya Jr. is being held out of competition due to quote potential eligibility concerns. These are stemming from his time at Iona. Pete, I think it's very, and again, I'll break out the like maybe the tinfoil like glove, the mitten, not the hat necessarily, but like a smaller piece of smaller accessory made out of tinfoil here.
Sure.
It's very easy to read this announcement given the massive news out of the NBA this week and say, oh, this sounds gambly.
It's funny that that's where our minds go now because like before, if you heard eligibility concerns, I'd be like, oh no, did he play in like a paid exhibition tournament
Hmm.
sometime. Like it would be, or like, did he play for some overseas team, or like it would be something weird like
Did he
that.
play in the G League already? And
Did
nobody
he,
figured that out.
or it would be academic. Like, did he not get all of his credits from Iona, or were his high school
Yeah.
transcripts, there was something wrong with those. So
Did he go to
that's,
like a did he go
yeah.
to a basketball factory?
But now you're like, do we need to like look at who he's dealing with, and did he, were there some player gambling issues here? So yeah, like very very kind of interesting that that's where our minds go now.
Speaking of kind of strange, I mean the whole it is incredibly ironic that the NCAA quietly updated their guidelines to allow student athletes to gamble on professional sports
Yeah.
just a day before the FBI went public with a major gambling scandal involving, I believe, Chauncey Billups allegedly. I
Hmm.
believe allegedly Kevin Garnett's involved. I mean, I guess I no longer see the distinction between a rev sharing NCAA and pro sports. There's not much of a distinction anymore.
Between a rev sharing NCAA and professional
Yeah,
sport.
I think
Okay, all right. So yeah, like you're basically just saying college athletes are professionals now too.
I mean I don't necessarily like 100% believe that to be
Uh-huh.
true. Like I'm being a bit I guess playing to a narrative in this sense. A thought narrative is like at this point we are paying college basketball players.
Hmm.
They pay NBA basketball players. They pay NHL hockey players,
Yeah.
uh, baseball players, pro baseball. Like I don't necessarily see all that as it pertains to gambling. I don't necessarily see a distinction. That's like saying, oh, you can bet on another league.
I see. So you're saying, why are we letting college athletes bet on pro sports when they essentially are pro?
Yeah, I mean, I guess do the individual pro. I guess do they allow gambling on others on non like a different sport, or do they kind of like they look? Is
I
it
think
frowned upon?
I think I mean
Nothing's frowned
this
upon
is all look,
anymore.
this is all so new that I
Yeah,
mean, but no, I think they can gamble on like yeah, like if you're an NFL player, I think you can gamble on hockey or basketball or whatever. I mean, look, it's stupid. It's just like
yeah.
it's for any of them to sort of like jeopardize either eligibility or in the pros, your salary, your contract, your future. I wouldn't bet on anything, right? Like in my job, for example, like I work in corporate banking and I'm really not allowed to trade individual stocks. 99 point something percent of stocks I have no extra insights on. So it wouldn't matter if I were trading like health industry companies or something. Like I don't deal with those. I have no insight on them. But it's just the nature of what I do that I'm not really allowed to do it, right? So it's just so I don't even bother. Like I'm not going to go out and trade stock and then turn around and have to like justify it. It's just like I just don't even bother with it because I don't want to potentially get in trouble and lose my job because I didn't do something that was cleared. And whenever I see a gambling scandal, even when it's something like, I think there, like last season, there were some Detroit Lions players in the beginning of the season that had all gotten suspended for like 4 games for gambling on other NFL games or something like that. I don't remember the exact details. And I was just like, how is this worth it? Like, how are you this stupid? Like, just don't, if you're an active athlete, don't gamble on
Yeah.
sports. Like, you're good. Something's going to come back to bite you. I,
I,
I don't understand it.
I think my problem with the NCAA allowing this is the NBA and the NCAA are very closely tied together. The NFL and the NCAA, those players all like there is somebody in the NCAA that knows like they're too close. It's like 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon. You're way too close to a guy that's on the field or on the coaching staff of a professional sports team to be betting on that. Like, I just think that puts you in such a tight spot where
Yeah.
like even casual conversations between you and an NBA player about stats or anything like like don't bet on a sport that you play.
Yeah.
1000%. It doesn't matter what level. I don't like don't not even one of those crazy Eastern European sites that have those weird sports that you can bet on 24/7.
Yeah, but think about in our case, if Yuri Collins,
Yeah.
who's like who is he close to tied to now? The Nets, like the Brooklyn Nets, or
Yeah.
Terrence Hargrove in the Nuggets
The Nuggets.
organization, right? Like if all of a sudden like there are guys on our team who are still friends with them and
Yes.
who are allowed to now legally gamble on the organizations that their friends play for. And even if Hargrove isn't on the top team right now or Collins is on the top team, they were in training camp with a lot of those guys and they kind of pop back and you just never know. Like they might have something that is like, hey, so and so's sick today or something like that. Like they're
Exactly.
you open yourself up to all kinds of issues. I think this is just any sports gambling scandals that have broken so far, I think are the very tip of the iceberg. I think going from like sports gambling more or less being mostly illegal everywhere to being completely legal everywhere and aggressively pushed to everyone all the time, I think is a transition that is not going to be healthy for a lot of people, and that opens a lot of it opens a huge can of worms that I don't think we thought through the repercussions of all of it. And I hate to sound like a fuddy-duddy, but like it's just true. And yeah, I think we're only at the beginning of all this. I think about all the things that just haven't been caught.
Yeah, it is incredible if you look into all the analytical and statistical monitoring that these gambling companies, they spend money on.
Yeah,
And it's crazy how easily they can catch. Oh, there's somebody put $10,000 on a Malik Beasley game, like on an under on Malik Beasley.
yeah,
I'm using that because again, Pablo Torre. I'm binging. I'm sorry, people.
sure.
Um, but
No, I
yeah,
mean it's a fair example though.
it's unbelievable. Also, uh, that's there's some collusion to get fans chicken. There's some point shave in there.
I think we should circle back though, Zach, and say we don't know what this is yet for NJ
Yeah.
at Dayton. We don't know what it is. Our minds went to gambling. To just like in case people don't know who he is, he's a sophomore. He played his freshman season at Iona. He was a starter there. He played almost 30 minutes a game, scored 12 and a half points a game. So he was going to be a big piece of what Dayton is doing, like a definite rotation player. I don't know if he was a starter or not.
I,
This week is kind of the week that I'm going to start kind of looking more at what lineups are going to be in the A10 this year. But like, obviously, an important player for what they were going to do this season. So we'll see if anything comes of this. Maybe it'll just be a couple days and he'll be eligible. I really have no idea.
yeah, if my keyboard was working right now, I'm trying to pull up some reactions for Dayton fans to this. Um, let's see. It was somebody said something about uh or professionally allowed said, I have no idea what the Adam Njai situation involves, but I have full faith the NCAA's position on it will lose in court unless it's tied to gambling. I would get a legal challenge ASAP. And then somebody
Oh,
said
oh,
some,
oh, oh.
whoa,
There's something just came through right now. Dayton
what?
holds, yes, SI.com. Dayton holds out transfer in connection with widespread sports gambling probe. Um, so I think there may be, yeah, I think your instincts were correct here, Zach. Dayton
You know
men's
what? I thought I was going to be happy, and I'm not.
sources tell Sports Illustrated that his situation is connected to the ongoing investigation of gambling related activity in college basketball. It's unclear if NJI is under scrutiny from both the NCAA and federal investigators or just the NCAA. In light of these concerns and the ongoing review process, Adam will not be participating in athletic competition at this time, Dayton's announcement said. And then it goes into the overall sort of details of the investigation. So it seems like he is in some way tied to that. Sources tell Sports Illustrated that multiple schools with current players have eligibility concerns tied to the gambling probe. NJ and Dayton are the first ones publicly known. I think that right there is why I don't feel great about this, Zach. I just said I think this is the tip of the iceberg in terms of sports gambling, and you see how easy it is for guys to get pulled into this, and all it takes is one person at your school to have a moment of weakness, and all of a sudden, somebody at SLU or something like so I don't want to, as much as I listen to me, as much as I hate Dayton, and I want nothing but the worst for their program and their fans. I I shudder to think if this were us. So I don't want to dance on anyone's grave right now. That's for sure.
No, it was just funny to me to think about the 2020 protocols.
Yeah.
One
Yeah,
moment of
sure.
weakness.
Sure.
It's gambling is the new COVID-19, ladies and gentlemen. It can derail your season just like that.
Just like that. Yeah.
Uh,
So yeah, hopefully that's it for the A10. I don't really want this to be more widespread than it is.
yeah, don't bet on it, people. Don't bet on it.
Well said.
I think we can safely say that even if we were a like huge podcast, I think we'd turn down gambling sponsorship.
Uh yeah, I mean, I guess I had not thought of that.
Yeah, we don't need to
But
really think about it because we're not that good.
I mean,
But I don't know. I have a problem with like the news around the NBA gambling stuff. They're talking about it. They're talking heads on screen, and at the bottom you have a FanDuel or a DraftKings logo.
that literally happened on ESPN the other day. It was hilarious. And
Yeah.
like all of a sudden, like because the chyron at the bottom had Bet ESPN. That's what it's called, right? Bet ESPN. It
Yes.
had their numbers going across as they're talking about this and the implications of it. And then all of a sudden the chyron just went blank and you just had a gray bar at the bottom of the screen. It was hilarious. It was just like because everybody had already made the joke that it was like this report is brought to you by DraftKings, FanDuel, blah 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 blah, and so like the fact that it was really happening, like it was really within the first 24 hours of that big story breaking, and it was like there it was on the screen, four heads next to each other, all talking about this, and then at the bottom, bet ESPN, and you're just like, gosh, I wonder how this happened. But yeah, I think it's a, I think it's a massive problem. And yes, this is I'm now seeing like 3 tweets in the last 5 minutes about this. So yeah, buckle up.
I don't like this. This again, it feels like March 2020. They're gonna just shut it down they're gonna shut everything down. They're gonna
Is
shut
this
all the
is this
sports down.
is this Rudy Gobert rubbing the microphones? Is that what we've got? Is that moment all over, just in a different way?
Uh,
Oh, I hope not, man.
yeah, I don't know. Let's talk about a new addition to the staff. Sam Mervis is a new graduate assistant. Uh, he and Josh Shirts are familiar with each other.
Yeah, he played for Shirts at Indiana State for 2 seasons before transferring to Southern Indiana to finish his career. He actually played at SLU in the 23-24 season opener, had 4 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists. He's from Indianapolis originally, graduated from USI with a degree in management. So yeah, grad assistant with some familiarity. It's interesting that he's one who I guess he would have transferred, yeah, before Shirts left for SLU, but they did cross over there for a couple seasons, Zach. So you got to like the familiarity.
Let's head over to the women's basketball side of things here. The women won a 63-56 decision against SIUE in a scrimmage or an exhibition Tuesday the 21st. No audio or video broadcast for this one, and no live stats. We did, however, of course, have Earl Austin Jr., the legend, the Hall of Famer. and Stu Durando on Twitter updates, as well as our friend of the show, Lord Elrond on Billikens.com.
Yeah, and it turns out Zaya Nugent led SLU with 18 points, followed by Ajada Denis with 13. Mia Bergstrom and Alexia Nelson each had 10. Nugent also had 9 rebounds and 3 assists, which were both team highs. Nugent, Nelson, Denis started along with Alyssa Korkenmeyer and Hannah Wallace, which I think should be pretty close to the starting lineup that we're going to see most of this season, Zach. SIUE led after a low-scoring first quarter. SLU took the lead midway through the second and basically held on to it after that. The slash line was 41% overall, 13% from three, 69% from the free throw
Nice.
line. So it looks like three-point shooting could still be an issue here.
13%.
Yeah, but I mean that was a common number last season. They were shooting in the teens constantly. This was a reminder, Zach, a reminder. This was one of the worst three-point shooting teams in the country and one of the worst teams in the country at defending the perimeter, right? So they lost games decided by other teams making a lot more threes than they did. And that's I think they've shored up the defense, but I still don't think we have a lot of shooting on this team.
It's going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
Let's see. Defense looked good, apparently. Ton of turnovers, but that's kind of the chaotic helter-skelter defensive effort is kind of something that we've seen a lot of under Tillett, especially when you had Martinez running the show.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I think helter skelter is a good word. I think we're going to see a little bit more of the chaotic style that we've seen under Tillett so far. Ellie Palusek dressed, so she's not just exclusively playing soccer before the season ends, but it sounds like she's outside of the rotation. I'm not sure she even got in. And then Triantafili, Marilena Triantafili was the other player who didn't get in. We haven't figured out why she hasn't been a factor at all yet. I don't know. She's 6'5". She came from Syracuse. I just don't know why she's not cracking the rotation. Can't figure it out.
I mean, she's 7 feet tall. That's like having a 6'5" left-handed pitcher and not playing her.
It's strange, man. I don't get it. But overall, I mean, any reactions to what you're hearing out of this exhibition game, Zach?
I don't know. SIUE was picked to finish last in the OVC. I don't know if I'm super jacked up about a 7-point win. I just don't. I don't know what we're going to get out of this team.
Yeah, you beat a bad team at home. You're supposed to do that. I don't think there's anything super surprising here. There's no reason to think, like I said before, that three-point shooting would suddenly be better. You've got Bergstrom, and I'm hoping Nugent and Nelson and a couple others kind of give you some work there, but I just don't know yet. We were also told that this team's identity would be defense, and that seems to be the case. So there's really nothing about this that surprised me at all from what I'm hearing.
The Billikens open the season at Missouri State. Jackie Stiles, the house that she built, famed, Midwestern women's basketball player. Then they come home for Middle Tennessee State on Thursday the 6th, and then Northern Iowa on Sunday the 9th. Pete, you talked about things that don't surprise you, and you know what doesn't surprise me? The quality and consistency of two men in a garden, salsa and pickles.
That's right, Zach. And this month they were out at Ballpark Village for Pickle Palooza 2025. We teased it a few weeks ago that it was coming. They put a nice Instagram post of their booth there. It looked great. They had the full banner out, all kinds of jars of their stuff. Obviously, mostly the pickles, but even a couple of their what a Kitchen Hub partner pickles. They had merch. It looks like a good time was had by all. So hope some people got out to Pickle Palooza to say hi to them. And if not, head on over to their website at twomeningarden.com. Put in an order. Let them know in the notes that we sent you, and I think you will like their pickles quite a bit. Let's do it.
All right, Pete, let's talk about softball. We've got some interesting news, and this broke by Colin Surrey during the volleyball stream. I did have to confirm. I said, did you just say what I think you said? And he said yes. So I just wanted to make sure that I was, due diligence here.
Yeah.
But they will be hosting the 2026 Atlantic 10 softball tournament. It has not been officially announced on the athletic website or the A10 site or anywhere else. Pete, I said I had questions. I teased this in the open. And my biggest question is, does this mean we're putting in a press box for softball? Because if we learned anything from Billiken baseball, is in 2014 when the Billikens hosted the A10 championship, Chris May built a temporary press box, a monstrosity,
Hmm.
if you will. And after that, I believe he said that they would not have to do that again. They're not going to have to put up a temporary press box again. They were set to host the tournament in 2023. They had to back out of it because they did not have a press box, and
Yeah.
they weren't going to put up the temporary one again. And also, they need replay. We talked about the NCAA this year requiring replay for tournament games. I believe the A10 is going to want replay involved. Um, so I don't. What do you think? Are we gonna get a press box?
So I was looking at this, Zach, because it got me thinking, like, what are the dates that they actually have to have this in order by? And May 5th to 7th were the dates for the last it may have been a couple more days than that, but it's basically that first weekend in May, right? Like there that first week of May when the conference tournament actually is. So you're right. So the weather is still a little bit unpredictable at that point. We're just now beginning to get like kind of the cold, dreary fall weather coming in, but they've got a little over 6 months to figure this out. I don't think they're going to build a proper press box and all of the infrastructure that you would want by then. I would like to think that they come up with a solution that is
Yeah.
not completely janky.
Here's my pitch. I think you could reasonably put up a brick facade press box
Hmm.
behind home plate. The bleachers are not that tall. I think you could put a put like I think you put a very reasonably modest press box back there. And I think I'm going to go with yes. I think they do. I'm going to give Chris May the benefit of the doubt because everybody says I don't. Prove me wrong. Put up a press box and host this thing the right way. I mean, there is one thing I will say that is not required, but is also a thing to note is that turf, SLU softball plays on an all natural surface.
Hmm.
That's extremely tough for tournament play.
That's true. And yeah, it's when you talk about the unpredictable weather. I mean, look, that's true of most of the A10. It's not
Yeah.
like Rhode Island or Bonaventure or Fordham or any of those are good sites for this thing. But you could see why you might be a little more inclined to have it at a Davidson or a Richmond or the places that have a little bit better weather. But pretty much anywhere else in this league is anyone's guess on the first weekend of May.
Yeah. I mean, you're playing a handful of games in one day on grass and dirt. It'll
Yep.
certainly eat up the playing surface. You have to go in and I would imagine reset the dirt after every game, right?
Hmm.
Um, like we talked about the unpredictability of the St. Louis weather. Obviously, there's always a chance that the weather is extreme enough to cause a cancellation. But with dirt and grass, the cancellation threshold is significantly lower.
Right.
So
Right.
it'll be interesting. I mean, I just see it a scheduling nightmare. But then again, I think outdoor weekend tournaments for college sports are inherently a clusterfuck. But
Yeah.
so let's talk about baseball. The Billikens have a new assistant coach. This a bit of a strange. Oh no, this isn't who I thought it was. This is a player that has come home.
Yeah, Joe Costanza. Do you remember him from SLU? I mean, he didn't play a whole lot. I think he was only here for
Oh,
1 year.
yeah, I don't remember him
Yeah, 2023, didn't play
because
a ton.
I don't, and because when I saw the name, I was like, it sounds like Costanza. And then I saw he played for, so I go, shit, I don't remember him.
That's the thing about baseball is it's a big roster and there's just a handful of guys who just don't get in a whole lot. He was a grad transfer. He came, I'm trying to, McKendree. He was a 4-year starter at McKendree and then came to SLU, got a certificate of public health as a grad transfer. But he comes to SLU now from Oral Roberts, where he was director of player development. Prior to that, he was an assistant at Johnson County Community College and also did some coaching of high school players at a baseball academy. So those are the two jobs he's had out of college so far. Young guy. I hope he's a good cultural fit. I mean, this is just it's a young staff, Zach.
Um, yeah. Hey, remember when you said that there was breaking news about Adam Njai, and then I forgot to go down my rabbit hole conspiracy that there's this game from last year between Iona and Manhattan where Iona won the first half 35-19 and Manhattan won the second 41-30, making a 65-60 Iona win. And then I was going to tell you that Adam Njai started that game and played total of 4 minutes and a minus 4.6.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Just something to throw out there, something to think about.
If there were prop bets on him last season, that kind of looks like one that stands out.
Yes. I mean, that's his lowest minute total and lowest point total by, or not point. I mean, maybe point total, but that's his lowest minute total by like 20.
Hmm. Yeah,
Um,
he started all but 5 games.
yeah, no fouls to mention. Um, he must have been really bad on defense in that game for some reason. Anyway, let's move on from that. Uh, let's talk college soccer. We're another part of the show where we're going to talk about, like, on a macro level, about the
Yeah.
sports we cover week in and week out. And I don't know about this one. I know there are proponents of this. I believe the current soccer staff is a proponent of this, but I could be wrong in the conversations that I've had with those guys. But this one, I just don't. I think there are things that I like about this, and then there are things that I'm like, whoa, let's slow down here.
Why don't I set it up, Zach, and then you cover what they want to
Oh,
do for men's
knock
soccer?
the pins down.
Yeah. So and then we'll switch back over to women's soccer. So at a high level, U.S.
Mm.
Soccer, in partnership with Next Gen College Soccer Committee, issued a 19-page proposal for changes to college soccer called "Ensuring College Soccer Thrives in the Modern Era of College Athletics and the Changing U.S. Soccer Landscape." You could tell there was some academics here because they're bad at punchy titles. The
That's
document
terrible. It's like NASA.
they need a proper publisher to give them some notes on that one. The document starts by setting the table about the changing landscape of college sports, and then it issues three must-have outcomes. Number one, it must be financially beneficial to institutions. Number two, it must be better for the academic, physical, and mental well-being of student athletes. And number three, it must enhance the identification and development of elite players for professional and or national team careers immediately. So recommendations begin on page 7. There are 10 of them. They focus on the role of U.S. soccer in relation to the college game, players, and the international landscape. There's a section on the competitive structure and calendar. At a high level, these recommendations are intended to regionalize competition, which will cut down on travel, maximize competition between teams with sort of similar levels of competitiveness and ambition, and create more time between matches to promote rest and recovery. They want to maximize opportunities for TV and streaming growth, offer elite players on-field development throughout the year, and space the calendar across fall and spring for what they think will be better outcomes for players. But what's interesting, Zach, the men's soccer game, that's where I think most of the major changes are. So why don't you cover what they're proposing there?
This is men's soccer specifically, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I read that there's a uh, what do you call it? There's an illustration here in the description, and I'm a little concerned that I don't have the illustration in front of me. Men's Division One soccer would be organized into four geographic clusters with 50 to 54 teams each. The cluster would include two regional divisions. Sorry, I'll stop that now. Of nine of the nine most competitive teams, and remaining teams would be divided geographically into four local divisions of 8 to 10 teams each. This structure creates regular season competition between teams of similar on-field performance and ambition, all of whom are more proximate geographically than a team scheduled today. This creates 72 regional teams and 141 local teams. I Why are we just not re-evaluating the NCAA in general? Like
I mean,
non-rev, like
this is probably a shove in that direction, but yeah, I
it's
get
a
you.
backdoor pilot.
I think just because U.S. soccer is more organized than other, sporting bodies.
Yeah. SLU would be in the yellow cluster in this illustration. It roughly stretches from Michigan to Texas. I we got to think that SLU would be a regional team in this scenario, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, not a local team.
Preseason would begin in mid to late. I feel like like SIUE would be more of a local team. See what I did there?
Yeah, I
See what I
mean,
did?
nice. Yeah, well done.
Preseason would begin in mid to late August, and teams could play up to four unofficial exhibition games against basically anybody. Local pro teams, rivalry games against teams outside the cluster, mini cups, charity games, whatever. Okay. I mean, in my experience, you got to give guidelines, people. You can't just go willy nilly here. Um, Official regular season games, 18 to 22 per season, would take place from September to early April with a 2 month winter break. The fall portion of the season would end in December, early December.
Mhm.
Games would primarily be played on weekends with no more than three per 14-day period. Standings will be consistent with global standards: 3 points for a win, 1 point for a draw. National tournament qualification is based strictly on table placement. No computer rankings, no selection committee. Number one with a bullet, put a pin in it right there, done and dusted. Love it. I'm in.
Love it. Yeah.
The national tournament would include more qualifiers from the regional division than the local division, and would also include a play-in structure featuring games between top non-qualifiers in regional versus their equivalent in local, just as today. 213 Division One teams compete in the same national tournament for a single national championship. 64 team tournament, 16 from each cluster. Then you'd have four cluster finals and a final four at a major stadium in early May, City Park. That's not what it says, but I mean,
That'd be
it's
cool.
I'm reading between the lines. Uh, Non-qualifying teams would be allowed two games for development while the tournament is going on. That's interesting.
Hmm.
Then they discuss the rationale for these changes based on other alternatives considered. We're not going to go through all of it, but it's interesting. You should read it. Read the document if you haven't already. Um, let's talk about women's soccer.
Yeah, so this is mostly going to have to just be me reading because, like, it's just the way this is set up. We're trying to whittle a 19-page document into a few minutes for you guys to digest. But here's what they say on the women's side, and this is me quoting them. While many of the forces impacting men's college soccer, including operational cost pressure and the physical academic toll of match congestion, also apply to the women, the competitive structure and calendar solution must reflect the many contextual differences between the two sports. This includes nearly 50% more teams and athletes in the women's game and less top to bottom competitive parity. And as described earlier, U.S. women's college soccer has long been the premier large scale development pathway for elite 18 to 22-year-old players in the world. But the women's soccer ecosystem, both globally and domestically, sits in a moment of unprecedented innovation, investment, and opportunity for elite players. The committee believes strongly that this creates an imperative for U.S. women's college soccer to proactively modernize. This includes creating alternatives that, at a minimum, deliver a more competitive environment for elite players to develop in the off-season months. This includes addressing today's development challenge of no meaningful, highly competitive matches for 6 months, December through May. Without such change, the committee believes the women's game faces accelerating risk of becoming less relevant and attractive as a destination for the most talented players. Any recommendation must balance the interest in soccer-related ambition of the 9,000 Division One women's players with the hundreds who have professional and or national team futures. Therefore, the committee recommends the following. The 2026 season continues as planned, with the newly approved calendar that begins the season 2 weeks earlier in July, creating the benefits of less match congestion and less missed class time than the current calendar. This is accompanied by a new, separate Spring 2027 competition for certain elite programs, built in conjunction with U.S. Soccer to be conducted regionally. The culmination of this spring competition could be a new flagship elite global U23 soccer event, perhaps contested among 4 regional college spring champions with 4 to 12 elite U23 reserve professional teams from both domestic and global leagues and or youth national teams. We will initiate a broader period of engagement after the conclusion of the 2025 season with a cross-section of administrators, players, and coaches that represent the breadth of women's college soccer constituencies. Basically, Zach, they don't want to rock the boat quite yet, and they want all stakeholders at the table so they move forward in the right direction together, which I think is smart. They think this also gives them time to see how the proposed changes on the men's side actually work once implemented. So they kind of stretch out the fall season for the women, and they get some like the best college teams in this big hypothetical tournament in the spring. I guess that's cool. I'd hate to be left out of that, but I get it. They're basically kind of saying we don't want to blow up women's college soccer yet because it's been so important. It's as a pipeline, right? But we got to acknowledge that if we don't do something, it's going to fall behind. And I don't know. I think that might be the right approach for now. In terms of next steps, and then we can get to our kind of final thoughts here. They're going to be discussing the proposal with all key stakeholders, but they said implementation in the 26-27 academic year is the goal. Quote, providing tangible financial benefit and taking full advantage of American soccer momentum expected immediately following the 2026 World Cup. We also recognize that some phasing of how this full suite of recommendations is implemented may be pragmatic given the totality of the suggested change. Additionally, we will collaboratively design the financial and operational ownership of scheduling, management of championships, governance of competitive play, and funding and commercialization, including television and streaming, of the new model. There would likely be a wide range of potential sources of funding and capital to invest in in college soccer's future. I would say please keep private equity out. I get a little nervous when I hear about potential funding and capital sources. I don't want them to ruin potentially a good thing. And then the whole thing concludes. There's an appendix with some really good data. But Zach, let's now that we've given this big summary. What do you actually think about this?
I'm going to be honest with you. You said a lot of like corporate jargon in there, and I kind of turned off for a hot minute. But like, so basically, my understanding
is
that
I could. There's a lot more of it. Trust me.
It was outstanding. You did an outstanding job. I am just who I am. So women's soccer essentially, like the acknowledgement here is that women's college soccer has always been ahead of the curve of the world. Right? Mm-hmm. College men's soccer infinitely behind, has been so far behind since Jump Street. Mm-hmm. So basically, let's gut men's soccer and make it more like it's basically rebalancing. It's like what people talk about when they say it's like essentially like the when you could create a franchise mode and do a fantasy draft. It's basically redrafting the lines here.
Sure.
and making it a little more balanced and a little more regional, and like nothing's changing as the structure other than the cat, like we're just taking away conferences. So I think it's super interesting to see that they're acknowledging that, that the two sports or the two sectors of the sport are in very different places.
Hmm.
I definitely agree that women's soccer should, we're fine for right now. Men's soccer, I really don't know about. I think maybe, changing the schedule, changing the criteria to get in. Conference affiliation is going to be interesting, and see how the NCAA and its member conferences react to that. I
Hmm.
can't imagine they're going to love it, but I mean, I think this is something you should, college athletics. This is they should just adopt this men's soccer thing. However, they're gonna reorganize it. They should just reorganize everything but football again.
Mm. Use this as an opportunity to just kind of reset college sports.
Reset college sports, regionalize it again based on ambitions, um, and then let it ride. Let the college football do whatever the hell they want to do. They can do
Mhm.
whatever. Don't care. But I think we are long overdue for a recalibration of kind of the landscape. I don't know about getting rid of conferences. I like the conferences; it's fun.
Mhm.
Um, but I think it, with so many. We talk about the number of teams getting in the NCAA tournament because of the growing number of teams in Division One. Like, I think besides the NCAA tournament, I think it's the whole landscape. I
Mhm.
agree with it. I just it's very scary though. It's a huge change, and I have no idea how this is going to work with just one sport.
Yeah, which is kind of, I wouldn't mind just them doing it and then seeing how it goes. Like I just think
Run with scissors.
it may a lot of the changes on the men's side make sense to me. I think overall, like as I've seen, like or as we've all seen, conferences blow up because of football. Geographies really get stretched in some pretty crazy ways, and that makes slew to the A10 look quaint. In a lot of cases, right? Like most conferences now are geographically stretched in a way that just seems untenable. So regionalizing this thing, um, limiting games primarily to be on weekends,
I
spreading
love
out the
that.
spreading out the calendar across both fall and spring, giving a big winter gap. Um, all of these things make sense to me. I like it a lot. Men's soccer, I think, is a good place to experiment with this. Like they say, you've only got about two-thirds of D1 programs, like for basketball, for example. Only about two-thirds of those have men's soccer, I can't remember the number they used.
It's not a
Um,
lot
yeah, 200 and something. So, yeah, it's a lot less than what we have in basketball or in women's soccer. So it feels like a good place to sort of experiment with that because especially the big conferences that really have the power to push back don't really exist with the same strength in men's soccer that they do. Like SEC does not exist in men's soccer, for example. I think only Kentucky
I think the
even has
Sun
a
Belt.
team. Right.
I
Yeah.
think they're in the Sun
So
Belt.
so I think it's a place that's ripe for experimentation. I think all of these really make sense on paper. Um, it just to me this men's soccer has an opportunity to really be a good training ground for future club and maybe in some cases some national players too. And they've just it's just gotten passed by the rest of the world so much
For sure.
by other countries in the way they develop players. So it makes sense to me. In terms of the women's side, I don't know. It's not as exciting, right? Like I think they stretch the calendar out a little bit, but they leave it in fall, which I don't love. I wish they could do fall, spring there too, but I think they also have to be a little more cautious here. Because if they completely blow up the women's game and it doesn't work, you do risk the acceleration that's happened in Europe and other places of the women's game
There's
really
more to
pass.
lose with women's soccer, and
There
that
really
is
is.
fascinating.
It really
I don't.
is.
I
It
can't
is.
explain to you how fascinating that
It's
is.
totally, totally. But you're seeing like, I mean, Spain and England and Sweden and some of these other international programs now. Canada's always been great, but like some of these programs now are
Well,
unbelievable.
I
And
mean, that's the NCAA factor for Canada, but I mean,
true, 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 true.
no.
But yeah, so you're seeing finally real long-term structural investment in the women's game overseas for the first
Mhm.
time. And given what they do on the club side, on the men's side, that's frightening for the United
Mhm.
States. And so you don't want to fall behind there too. So I think this is a good step one of acknowledging that. I don't know, the big open cup in the spring where some college teams get invited to play a bunch of other teams. Like we'll see what comes of that. I don't get super excited about that at this point. Maybe I will once I see it come together. But for now, I think all of this makes a lot of sense to me, and I'm glad U.S. soccer is doing something. And I'm very, very curious to see what is in store for this because, yeah, you never quite know what's in store.
Apply it to the entire NCAA, not football.
So
Do
you
it.
want you
Do
want to
it
see this
now.
in baseball and
It is
volleyball
the
and
it is the only way that with the current administration we have that we are going to move up in this hierarchy of college athletics
we mean a
across the
slope.
board.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I mean, we're not getting into the Big East.
Right.
So a complete redrawing would be nice. I think we could certainly use a reset.
It makes sense. And they want to move fast. I mean, 2026, 27.
And here's the beauty of this thing. If we are going to if we want to be positioned, if we're going to continue, Kevin Kalish, I think, has brought the standard, at least the minimum standard that we should expect from Billiken men's soccer.
Hmm.
Uh, if that is the minimum standard, if the minimum standard is making the NCAA tournament year in and year out, and they do this redrawing of the districting or whatever you want to call it, and the Billikens are on, if they're in that conversation, that's amazing publicity. If this goes full NCAA,
Yeah,
that's
right.
great publicity. If your soccer team is in the discussion for national prominence, and they are test driving, their pilot programming a redistricting of the NCAA landscape, fuck yeah,
Yeah,
that's beautiful for us.
right.
So, a huge opportunity, I think, would present itself for Billiken soccer
I
and
think
Billiken
so.
athletics through Billikens. Huge opportunity for Billiken athletics through men's soccer if this comes to fruition.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Um, Speaking of men's soccer, let's get to the actual men's soccer that was played. Uh, the men in the rankings, RPI 13 before the Loyola game, United Soccer Coaches 16, Top Drawer Soccer 24. A disappointing 1-1 draw at Loyola Saturday the 25th, just under 2 minutes into the game. Abdul Karim Pari, who is my favorite player on this team right now,
Hmm.
curled it just over the top near corner of the net. Loyola keeper jumped and got his glove in the netting, like the CYC ref who lost his finger in St. Louis. CYC, swear to God,
Ooh,
that's, I don't know. That was the old wives' tale. We had a ref that was missing his middle finger or his ring finger,
That's ugh.
and that was the old wives' tale, or like the legend that what happened to him is that he jumped to get a ball out and he got caught. I don't know if that's possible. I don't even know if that's like a thing that could happen. But anyway, the corner of the net came loose. This is something you would see at SLU, and I'm just happy that it wasn't us this time.
Yeah, it led to a delay though, Zach, and I kind of felt like like the vibes were just weird after that. Like it
The
was just
vibes were, it was
it was a
cold.
weird. Yeah, right. It was gray, it was windy, it was just kind of like, I don't know, something about that. 17th minute, not all that long after the delay, Draven Barnett was sent off with a straight red for a boot to the face of a Loyola player. Look, we get a lot of replays of this, and I can say with confidence that I think he earned it. He went too high, his toe caught the guy squarely on the chin.
Well,
Not a
his
lot of
chin
doubt.
shouldn't have been standing there.
That's that's the argument I saw you making, Zach.
No,
Do you think the red was harsh here?
I think that like I think he put his head down. I think he put his head down. I'm sorry, like I think there's got in my head again. This may not be the rule. I I default to the rule is bullshit if I
Mm,
don't like a call, like which is kind of like I'm trying to acknowledge that I'm being irrational in a way. But
hmm
like if you put your head horizontal to the ground,
hmm
I don't know, like maybe you don't give him a red card. I just think he put his head down. That should absolve the other player of a red card. I think absolutely a yellow. I think that was ridiculously uh, lacking intelligence in raising your foot that high. Um, but again, I mean, I just don't like that's so tough to impact the game like that early.
Yeah.
Again, I just think he put his head down. His head was his eyes were if your eyes are at the floor, I'm sorry, don't keep your head up.
Yeah. Unfortunate circumstances, but I don't know. As a ref, I
Look,
would have
I'm
felt
not
like I
I'm
had
not
no.
victim
He
blaming.
didn't.
I'm not victim blaming, all right? I'm not
I don't know
victim
why
blaming.
he had his foot that high. He didn't give the ref a lot of choice here.
No, and that's what sucks. But I'm just my point is that you put your head down. It looks like you tucked your head into, you know what I mean? Like the visual to me says yellow. With a stern dictatorial, a stern dictatorial to go along with that yellow card. See, that's one of those where like you wish you could give him a yellow and send him off for the rest of the half.
Yeah,
Like I could get down with that change if
sure.
college soccer is not going to update the substitution rule. Like let's make a yellow card. You're off for the half.
For all of the internationalization, they didn't say anything about the clock or the
They
substitutions
didn't,
or anything like that. I that
which is a problem.
it'll be interesting if they change those too.
And what does this apply to Division Two, Division Three? We don't know.
Yeah, no, they're only talking about
Um,
D1 so far.
because well, that's the story behind counting up is that the smaller Division Two, Division Three, they can't afford a fourth official.
Mm.
So that's I don't know that I guess that was kind of the I don't know. It doesn't matter. Last minute of there were five yellow cards after that, but nothing. Nobody else got sent off. In the last minute of the first half, Loyola got on the board. It was some nice passing in the box and a finish to the bottom left corner past Abinel. This is not good. You're thinking. I mean, honestly, I think this team is good. I saw this and I'm like, this team is good enough to get a draw at home. Down a man, I do not know about on the road. And I
Yeah,
just thought this would have been a horrendous way to lose this.
and there was less than a minute on the clock, speaking of counting down in the first
Yeah.
half when this happens, right? So you're a coach, you're thinking, okay, scoreless draw, we get out of the first half and now all of a sudden being down 1-0 very suddenly, it changes your whole outlook, strategy,
Yeah.
whatever you want to call it for the second half. It's unfortunate timing for SLU. And they didn't equalize that until the 84th minute when your favorite, Paris, scored bottom right corner on an assist from Tanner Anderson to
This
draw.
was a great goal.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
it was he kind of turned, kind of just had the ball in the box, turned and fired and went in and the Billikens needed it.
Yeah.
They outshot Loyola 9-7. Loyola had a 5-1 advantage in the first half, and the Billikens outshot them down a man 8-2 in the second. Like the announcer said on the broadcast, if you had tuned into this game in the second half and nobody said anything, you would have never known the
No.
Billikens were down a man in this one.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I put them in a difficult position, but they responded really well. 5-1 in the
Absolutely.
first half is not surprising at all, right? You go down a man early, and then you're just trying to like batten down the hatches and get out of there unscathed. But whatever they drew up at in halftime really worked. They responded to it well. I was impressed by that.
Shots on goal, 4 for the Billikens, 3 for Loyola. Corners were SLU 3, Loyola 1. Fouls were even at 17 apiece. It would be nice if the Bills didn't put themselves at a one-man disadvantage early in the game.
Mhm.
Not the first time it's happened this season, and they also like to do it with goals as well, which
Yeah,
is frustrating.
that's for sure. Yeah, Carlos Leatherman had that one earlier this year where he got sent off in like the 21st minute or something like that. So,
Um,
yeah, unfortunate.
the Billikens are still alone in first at 5-0-2. They missed a chance to clinch the regular season title at Loyola. Davidson are both 4-1-2. The Billikens have the head-to-head tiebreaker over Fordham, but have not played Davidson. The tie still guarantees at least a share of the conference title for the Billikens. They will wrap up the regular season on Saturday, November 1st against Rhode Island. That is a bad Rhode Island team, a Rhode Island program that can occasionally pop up and make a run at an A10 championship. They're 4-8-4 overall, 2-3-2 in conference. They're coming off a scoreless draw against VCU. They, like I said, they are a program with a rich history. They are a bad team this year, but they are capable of having an unexpected 6-1 win over Duquesne or 4-0 shutout of Central Connecticut State. This is, however, a game SLU has to win.
Yeah, for sure. SLU was actually supposed to have a game on Wednesday, the 29th against Blackburn, but they canceled it. Not
This
super surprising, I
it's
guess.
no, it's I mean it's just you gotta. There's no reason for it. It's not going to do anybody any good. You don't. I mean, I guess it could card accumulation. I don't know. Does that count for the conference? I don't even know.
That's a good question. I think it probably still would. And then I don't know I haven't looked at weather for St. Louis this week, but if it's like Cincinnati, the middle of the week is going to be really rainy,
Yeah,
which is kind of unfortunate for me. I'm trying to get my team out there to practice before we play in a tournament this weekend.
super important.
Yeah, it's more important than the Blackburn game, but yeah, they
100%.
they pulled that one off the calendar nonetheless.
Uh, the women's soccer team, they are sitting at an RPI of 33 before the Loyola game. They won 1-0 at Fordham on Thursday, the 23rd. By the way, we need to talk about Fordham's athletic facility again. I think we
Hmm.
do this every year. It's incredible. An incredible. It is almost as good as LIU Brooklyn's was before they closed it down.
Yes, yeah. It's just lines on lines on lines. Like they're
It
all
is
using the same kind of
so
like
good.
piece of turf, right?
The baseball field bleeds into the soccer field, which also might be part of the football field. It's incredible. I love.
Lacrosse, field hockey. It's just
Yes.
like every field line you can
Yes.
imagine is layered on there in a different color, and it's wild.
Rugby in there for some reason. I don't know.
Hmm.
But let's start with the goal. One of the strangest we've seen all season.
Yeah, 75th minute. Izzy Lubert took a free kick from about 30 yards out, put it on goal, basically like just under the crossbar in the middle, like top middle. The keeper had it, but she was kind of shaky when she landed. Looked like she kind of rolled her ankle and then just sort of bobbled it into the back of the net. Hope Kim was standing right there. And from the only angle we got, which was like the main camera booth, she was kind of blocking the exact moment the keeper fell over and the ball went in. I played it a few times because I wondered if the keeper like tried to get it out and Kim was just standing there and it ricocheted off her or something, but I don't know if it would have counted because they might have called it like, her interfering with the goalie. But nonetheless, it counted, so she couldn't have done that. The goal itself was surprising, Zach, based on how it went in. But the fact that SLU scored wasn't that surprising to me. I think the second half saw SLU putting more and more and more pressure on, and you just kind of had the feeling that a goal was coming. I just didn't think that was going to be the play that did it.
No. Oh God, notes just went crazy. Sorry, sent me all the way up to the
Yeah,
top of
no,
the
I got you.
page. Yeah, go ahead.
Fordham put up an incredible goal line stand about halfway through the second half. This was before SLU's goal. They stopped multiple balls right on the doorstep. It was just kind of like the ball is just bouncing around the box. SLU tried to put a couple head. They couldn't get much power on anything. Couldn't get a clean shot. They sent a couple headers on frame, and Fordham had people there to kind of head it away. So credit to them for putting 4 or 5 people on the line to keep the ball out. But I just wish we would have thrown a little more quality at them at that point. Shots in this game, SLU 21, Fordham 9. 12 of SLU's were in the second half. Shots on goal 8-3, and 6 of those 8 were in the second half. Corners 12-3, again 8 in the second half. So you can see when they really ratcheted up the pressure. Fouls were 13-8. SLU had more of those too. It wasn't pretty. SLU was clearly frustrated throughout this game, but a road win's a road win. Fordham had a plan. They stuck to it, and luckily the Bills broke through, Zach.
Yeah. They did not break through against Loyola at home on senior day. A 0-0 draw Sunday the 26th, senior day. Not exactly what you've come to expect from the Billiken women's soccer team on senior day. Riley Howard, Hannah Larson, Izzy Lubert, Ellie Polusik, and Julia Simon were all honored prior to the game. It rained all day here in St. Louis, and of course it was a factor in this game. It was steady rain, not necessarily a downpour. There were times, not fun for the crowd either. I was at field hockey, got a great story about that. Stick around. SLU had some chances early on, didn't get any threatening shots out of them. They turned good build up into good shots, or turning good build up into good shots remains an issue for this team. They can't quite figure it out. They seem to play really well up until they have to go and score, and it just doesn't happen. SLU controlled this game overall. Passing was much better than it was against Dayton or Fordham.
Much better.
In the mid second half, Loyola had a header bounce to the perfect spot for Jaden Harris, their striker. Emma Parker came out and played it perfectly to make the save. SLU might have gotten away with a penalty here with about 7 minutes to go.
I thought they were going to call it for sure, Zach. So you had Izzy Lubert kind of shielding Jaden Harris as she made the run. There was a little bit of contact. They both went down. The ref was right there and said, "Play on." I mean, I was holding my breath because I was certain. The first thing I did was darted my eyes up to the corner to see how much time was left, because I was like, "Uh-oh, if they go up 1-0, then this is bad." But they didn't call it. And you heard a vocal reaction from Loyola's side. I mean, they were furious that was a no call. And I think I probably would have been too. But I guess the ref thought the best that Dan Betlock could come up with was Lubert had the inside position and she was just kind of shielding the ball. And Harris from Loyola was the one that kind of forced the contact. I guess you could make that argument, but even on the replay, it was really hard to say that for sure.
Pete, I think I'm gonna take a stab at why that was not called, and that was a stats no call. That was the Billikens are out shooting Loyola 15-3. They have 8 shots on goal to Loyola's 1. Corners are 9-2. Fouls are 7-5. Loyola. I'm not gonna give you a PK with those stats.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is home cooking. It's home cooking. I don't want to condone not calling it by the rules, but I think that's you get into the subconscious of not maybe taking the opposing team seriously.
Yeah.
As a ref, I think maybe you just kind of like, I don't know. I think it has to impact the way you're calling a game when the match is tilted the way it was in this one.
It's funny. We outshot them 15-3, but it doesn't necessarily mean that SLU had more dangerous chances, right? Like Loyola had maybe the most dangerous chance of the game on that one that Parker had to rush out for, that you mentioned right before that foul. So, yeah, the stats were completely imbalanced. It just sucks that they can wind up with something more dangerous on 1 or 2 counters than SLU does the entire game, and that's just kind of like, look, it's a disappointing result. It feels like a game they should have won. And that's 2 tough games this week. And they feel like they're a little bit stuck in the mud in the attacking third. If they can break through at that end, this team could definitely win the A10 tournament. But that's a big if, because we just haven't seen this. We haven't
Yeah.
seen that all season. They
It,
can't string it together once they get close to the net.
yeah. I mean, it's been a symptom this entire season, right? Like
Yeah.
you said, what was I'm trying to remember the game where it took them 85 minutes to score. They finally got it down. They took their time and just kind of ran it at the defense, and finally something opened up. But they just needed to take a little more time, and I think this team has just been disjointed
Yeah.
for a lot of it. And I think that has to do with the turnover, unfortunately, that comes with losing your studs.
Yeah, for sure.
This was disappointing. Felt like a game that the Billikens should have had.
Yeah, I agree, Zach. But now we know SLU is the 2 seed in the A10 championship, and they will host 7 seed Loyola on Saturday, November 1st at 2 p.m. Central Time.
That's
So
going to be a double header.
they're just going to run it back. They're just going to run it back against this same Loyola team, and I hope they're better prepared on.
Uh,
It looks, yeah, sorry, Saturday, so not
yeah,
Halloween.
no. But the men play at 7 that night too.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
why. That's why the doubleheader. Gotcha.
Yep. Let's talk a little volleyball. The Billikens dispatched a bad Fordham team, a team that was a Fordham team that's injured,
Hmm.
with capital I's. 3-0 win against Fordham, Friday 24th, 25-14, 25-21, 25-21. Tamia Maddox, 11 kills, 7 digs. Jetta Brenning, 27 assists, 6 kills, 7 digs. Ellie Rink, 4 aces, 5 kills, 12 digs. Fordham just hit 0-3-8. That's bad.
That is not good at all. That's yeah, and SLU was over 300 in that game. On Saturday the 25th, another 3-0 sweep, 26-24, 25-21, 25-22, a little bit closer than the night before. Hitting percentages were a lot closer, 227 to 207. SLU also had to overcome 23 errors compared to just 9 for the Rams. Brenning had her 11th double-double of the season with 36 assists and 13 digs. Justina Asamoah had a career high 8 kills, and then Rink and Ermak Gokchen led SLU with 12 kills apiece. So a little bit closer, but they got it done, Zach.
You mentioned Justina. I was really impressed with her this week. She playing in the middle. She was just a physical presence, very tall. She was just really good this week. You don't act like we talked about how badly volleyball was beating the dregs of the A10 in 2009, 2008. And I think, again, 3-0 is a great result against anybody at home in your conference,
Yes.
especially for a team that struggled with that front loaded conference schedule. I think it's huge to come back 3-0 Rhode Island, 3-0 Fordham, both twice in a row. So I think this is a great step forward. You saw Ellie Rink had a bit of a shrinking role this week. I think I don't think Beatty was happy with the way she played against Rhode Island. And that first match, she saw less and less time as that went on, and then played sparingly in the second match, I believe. Um, but yeah, that's a 4-match win streak after losing the first 7. It puts them in 8th place in the league, just behind Duquesne and Davidson. Speaking of the Dukes, Pete, next up.
SLU heads there for matches on Friday and Saturday. Duquesne is 13 and 10 overall. They're 5 and 7 in conference. They're better than Rhodey and Fordham, but it's the kind of team SLU needs to meet to beat to make the
Mhm.
conference tournament. Only the top 6 make the conference tournament, and SLU and Duquesne would be the first 2 teams out if the season ended today. So they both really, really need this one.
Yeah, I mean, again, we've talked about the expectations um of Billiken volleyball, and it's got to be above Duquesne.
Yeah,
Duquesne, it's a team you got to beat, you got to sweep at home, and you should be able to sweep on the road. You should win both games, maybe not sweep on the road, but this is a match you have to have. Um, Field hockey, Pete. I was out there today. By the way, it is. I was playing 4D chess out there today. I have my car. So like field hockey, it's set up the way it's set up. It's parallel to Shoto.
Yeah.
If you park on the other side of the field, it's right off the like you're like the curb is probably 20 feet from the end lot from the sideline. You
Hmm.
pull your car right up there close to the top of the hill towards the far end. I was sitting in the hatchback, staying warm, staying
Nice.
dry. It was beautiful. I could kind of not see the near goal by the scoreboard,
Hmm.
but it wasn't bad. I when the Billikens were attacking, I would get out and but it was it. I mean, for the like that place has so much potential for like good viewing spots.
Yeah.
Just all of them that are there now are not like they're not very good. It's just
Mm.
way too low. Like it's just hard to see. Um, it doesn't matter really. It really doesn't. But they lost. Really, this was a heartbreaking match to watch. Really, a 1-0 loss against Lock Haven Sunday the 26th. The Bald Eagles, by the way, out of 3 votes we got on our poll today, Lock Haven's Bald Eagle mascot nickname is unique. 2-1. 2-1. 3 votes. And I'm gonna add my vote in there. I think it's weird. 2-2. Pete, do you want to vote?
It's the national symbol of our country. I'm gonna say not weird.
Okay. There you go. Unique, ladies and gentlemen, officially official. The Bald Eagles scored in the first quarter, and the Billikens couldn't respond. Lock Haven's goalie stood on her head in this one, saved 2 penalty strokes. It was a fairly evenly played game, 14-14 in shots, 9-9 in corners. Slu had more shots on goal, 8-5. This was the last game of the home slate. Lock Haven was winless entering this game. It feels brutal. I mean, like,
Yeah, this was a backbreaker because like you had they've had basically when they haven't played the really dominant teams, right? Like the St. Joe's, the VCU's, the Iowa, take those out, and every game they've had has been decided by 1 goal or less. Like it's just been so close all season, whether they're winning or losing or whatever. It's just been really, really close. So when you come into this game against a team that's winless on the year. You're at home. It's your last home game. You think, we got this one. We got this one. Like, we're not going to finish last. Like, they finished last so many times in the A10. It's not going to happen this year. So that to me is a backbreaker, Zach. And
I
that's
mean,
coming off of last
even
week's.
a week, yeah. Even last week, we
Yeah.
were talking about a potential fourth place. Jackie Moon merger.
Yep. Yep. So what you had to do, you lose to LaSalle in a shootout. You got to beat last place Lock Haven, lost that one, and then now you got to go on the road and play Davidson, which is another winnable game. But it's just it seems like an uphill battle now, Zach. And if they don't win it, they get last again, and that's heartbreaking.
Yeah. I mean, it's a team that is playing with a shorthanded roster.
They are. Yeah, I mean, look, like they've already exceeded expectations on the
Yeah.
year. Interim coach under
They made
30,
it.
playing with
They
a
made it. They had a coach on their first
two,
game.
yeah, they're playing with barely over half a roster. I mean, I all of that. I mean, like kudos to them.
Yeah.
Love what they've done. I just wonder if they ran out of gas, right? So their A10 finale is Friday the 31st at Davidson, like I said, but then they'll stay in the Charlotte area to play at Queens the next day. Davidson's 8-7 overall, 2-3 in the league. Tough road game for a struggling team, but Slu's win at Richmond showed us that it's possible. They can do it. And really most of their games have been so close. So yeah, they like circling back, if they don't win, they'll finish in last because they'll be tied with Lock Haven. Both would have 1 win this season. Lock Haven is done with the conference schedule. And they don't have the tiebreaker, which is a shame, given that SLU actually did have a lane for a while to finish third this season, and a really legitimate shot to finish fourth.
Yeah.
They just needed 2 more wins, so it got away. Queens, though, is pretty bad. They're 3-12 overall. They beat Bellarmine and a lower division team. They lost to common opponents: UC Davis, Richmond, Iowa, LaSalle, and Ohio. On paper, Queens is one they should win, but then again, so was Lock Haven.
I don't want to be like a dick here,
Hmm.
but I love the like circle of suck that is the bottom of field hockey.
Yeah, they all
It's
play
just
each
the
other.
usual suspects. Like I can't tell you when the last time I heard about Bellarmine outside of field hockey was.
So there's only like 80-ish. It's in like 84 D1 hockey or field hockey teams.
No,
So,
you can throw hockey. We're cultured. You can call it
so
hockey.
I was just reading about the sport bandy the other day. Do you know what bandy
Yeah. Oh,
is?
it's insane.
It's insane.
Yeah, it is field hockey. It's field hockey on ice, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's exactly what it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah.
No boards, bigger goals. It's
It's
crazy.
soccer
A
meets
ball.
ice hockey.
That's right. Yeah. So anyway, yeah, you're right. We've covered field hockey now. I just I
You
don't
asked me
know.
if I've heard of a sport.
I
That's
wasn't yeah, okay. I just had to make sure. Swimming
uh
and diving, Zach, mixed results against McKendree this weekend.
yeah, I mean, I think it's no surprise that with these split teams like tennis or swimming and diving or running, it's the women every time. And I think again it speaks to what type of school SLU is. But I don't know why I made the point there. I just think it's interesting that it's always the women that
Yeah.
come through here. McKendree, October 25th. Is that O'Fallon, Illinois?
Yeah, it's oof, I don't know if it's
It doesn't
O'Fallon, but
matter.
it's
It
near
doesn't
there,
matter.
near there. Yeah.
October 25th. The women won 156 to 127. Tierney Cole won the 100 meter and the 100 meter breaststroke. Olivia Fox won both the 1 and 3 meter diving competitions. Uh, the men lost 165 to 129. Ben Mears, though, won the 1 and 3 meter diving competitions. SLU will host Southwest Baptist in Rockhurst on November 1st. Pete, cross country was off this week. Next up, they'll head to the Atlantic 10 Championships in your neck of the woods.
They will, yeah, Cedarville, Ohio. Not quite my neck of the woods, about 30 minutes east of Dayton, but as we
Ohio's
mentioned last
Ohio.
week, yeah, it's yeah, smaller than Missouri, technically, even though it's got double the population. And just so we don't upset anyone from McKendree or O'Fallon, it's in Lebanon, Illinois, just past
Lebanon.
O'Fallon, just past O'Fallon. So there, that's where it is.
Pete, did we give them a 2 hour show?
We definitely did, Zach. We definitely
Okay,
did. If
great.
yeah, we're just
Well,
over
that's
2 hours.
just because we love you. And uh, I'll throw this at the end of the episode. If you're still here, you're obviously thank you. Thank you. Should we open a Venmo? Just like hey, if you want to contribute. If not, no worries type thing. Comment or DM us with your thoughts on that.
Mm.
I don't know. That's gonna do it. Pete, go Bills.
Go Bills.